Hi, welcome to another episode of The Lord's Delight. Today, I'm going to talk about appearance. A lot of people, most of the people actually, including you and me, we are not happy with 100% of who we look like, whether it might be regarding our weight or certain features or how we appear in certain photos. There is some insecurities in us. I'm not talking about everybody, but most people. Some wish to be taller, some wish to be thinner, some wish to be a little bit more hefty or look built up with muscle. So regarding appearance, there is quite a bit of thoughts that runs in us, and also the society around us, the media, social media, they all actually give inputs to us regarding what a perfect or a beautiful person should look like, and it keeps changing, and you can see major changes in every century or so, and that affects quite a bit of how we perceive as who's beautiful. So I want to look into the biblical perspective of appearance, or you could even say body image, or does Bible address it, and if so, what do I perceive from the Bible regarding it? What I understood is, once I start looking at the Bible, there has been people of all spectrum, short, tall, what we would call fat or obese, thin, people of every spectrum in the Bible. You ask me, how do I know this? So I'll give you some of the examples. In Luke chapter 19 verses 1 to 10, it talks about Zacchaeus. And this guy was not an average height person, and we see that it describes him as short. He was so short that when a group of people were standing, he was not able to see to the center of it where Christ was standing, and he decides to climb up a tree to have a better view. So he was very short in stature. Then we'll go to 1 Samuel 9:2, that is chapter 9, verse 2. It describes Saul as a head taller than everybody else, and that he was very handsome. Here we see a man of above average height, and the Bible describes him as very handsome. If we go to Judges chapter 3 verses 14 to 29, it is the incident about King Eglon, which the Bible describes him as somebody who was so obese that when he was stabbed, the knife went inside him. Actually, it was a sword. The fat in his tummy closed around it, so nobody could tell that he was stabbed. He was like pretty big guy. And then if you see in Genesis chapter 25 verse 25, it talks about Esau as he was very red and he was very hairy. So this was a physical feature, and he had so much hair on his body that Jacob had to put goat skin on him to mimic Esau's skin. So here was a guy who had a lot of body hair. And then if we look at Judges 16:17, it talks about Samson. And then in 2 Samuel 14:26, it talks about Absalom, and it talks about both of them having really long hair, and it refers to Absalom as somebody who was really, really beautiful. So men had long hair even then. Then you jump over to Matthew chapter 3 verse 4. It describes John the Baptist as wearing camel hair as clothes. When we think of appearance, we also think about what we wear, and it just gives a whole perception, right? So here is a guy who was not, let's say, fashionably forward for those times. He was wearing camel hair. He was very comfortable with it. And if you go to 2 Corinthians 10:10, it actually says Paul's writing was much more powerful than his speech or how he looked in person. It says that in person he was not that impressive. We already know that he talks about him having eye issues. So there is people of all different body shapes, all different sizes and appearances in the Bible. Why is this listed? People of different clothing, their clothing is also described so vividly. It is okay for us all to be unique, different shapes, different frames, tall, short, round, thin. God has created, I'm not saying that you don't have to take care of your health. What I'm saying is, we are people who are going to be unique from different people. We need to take care of our health because this is the body that God has given us, but that shouldn't be our first and only priority. The thing that I want to convey is, it matters how we perceive ourselves. Our God is an intelligent designer who created us. He chose our complexion, He chose our color of our eyes, He chose our hair, He chose the skeletal frame, our height, a lot of things. That is why some things we say, oh, genetics, that can't be changed. He picked those out for us. Here, I want to talk to you about the story of Amy Carmichael. If you have not read about her biography or autobiography, or you could just find out about her from the internet. She is from Northern Ireland, and she ended up being a very powerful missionary in South India. When she was a little girl, she was very disappointed that she had brown eyes and that she was not able to fit in there, and she wanted blue eyes, and she was praying fervently for God to change the color of her eyes. And when that didn't happen, she was very much disappointed. She had brown eyes and brown hair. What she didn't realize as a young girl was God had a very specific reason why He had given her the brown eyes and the brown hair. After serving in a lot of different countries, she moved to South India, where she realized that the unwanted brown eyes was such a gift. It was a far more precious gift from God than the value she once placed on blue ones. This enabled her to easily fit into the culture of India, and God had given her the features for what He wanted her to do one day. And she ended up rescuing so many girls, and she established such large homes to take care of people, and her impact in the south of India was very great. So a lot of times the features we think, oh my god, why do I look like this, or certain things we feel are unpleasant, there is a reason He gives us those features. He is an intelligent designer God. I want to read Ephesians 2:10 to you. For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do the good things He planned for us long ago. We are His masterpiece. When you describe some work as somebody's masterpiece, it is the peak, epic of their creative talent, and each and every one of us are God's masterpiece. I also want to talk about one more verse, which is Psalm 139, actually, a few verses. Psalm 139, verses 13 to 16. For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place. When I was woven together in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. When I think of the fact that the God of the universe, the sovereign God, He picked my features, my complexion, my frame, my hair texture. This does not negate the fact that we have to make good choices with respect to treating all of these. But however I have treated myself, here is where the total acceptance we crave is there. It is in Christ. He loves me the way I am, with all the warts and all. He loves me with all the flaws. He loves you also just the way you are. My identity is in Christ, and the fact that I am His child, and that cannot be taken from me, whatever my physical features changes. And I want to assure you, I am not at perfect peace with how my body is, right? I've also had struggles regarding sometimes weight gain and sometimes regarding the way I look, but I have realized one thing. The moment I don't dwell over it and go to Him, I have personally experienced the God given discipline of being able to make wise decisions on what I should put into my body, and irrespective of the result. And He gives me just such peace and joy regarding the body He has given me. So I just want to tell you one thing. God made each and every one of us as His masterpiece. Don't forget it. When you hear the lies of the world and lies of Satan, just go back to God and He'll give you not just acceptance but happiness at how He has designed you to be. Okay then, I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.